Oh, oh, hey everybody! I'm not sharing my screen. I mean, go ahead and join the Zoom. I think we'll share the screen via Zoom. That'll be the easiest thing when we mob. Because that's what we're doing tonight. We are mob programming. Super excited about it. Because A, I'm caffeinated. B, it's good to see people. Thank you for showing up. Um, this will be good. I was thinking about, and I was reflecting on Monday's class, and I hope you at least got a feel for some of the mechanics. I think now that we're doing it in person, it'll be a very different kind of conversation. But one of we have two goals tonight. One is to not only experience mob programming, but also to discuss our experiences and what we learned and what we did, and then what ideas that we have for next Wednesday when we'll do our second mob programming activity. Oh, then let me turn off all of the. Let's see here. I go to the host tools.
Progress.
Let me go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Probably don't want to join with audio because you'll get um yeah. No, they won't sound like a Pink Floyd like that. All this echo and reverb. Um yeah, I'll fix that stuff later. Anyway, so tonight, yeah, we're mobbing. Before that, though, what can I tell you? So let's see here. Project 3, I think saw most people submitted it. Thank you very much. Probably a couple of them came in after I looked at it. What'd y'all think? How was it compared to Project 2?
Uh, I think you should force people to use IntelliJ instead of using VS.
Well, I'm really glad that you mentioned that because this is like I'm at the first term where like I was gonna say such a large percentage, there are only 8 of you, but yeah, so many people. Tell me more though about your experience with VS Code. I mean, I know we had the problems with the integration tests, but
Well,
like,
well, the thing is, it's not just tests
yeah,
like that. It's all functionality doesn't work for those files.
wow, that's so
So I've
weird.
been like, we've been
Yeah, yeah.
moving, like I said, I tried to make a class or whatever um, from the keyword and it doesn't do anything. And then making an IntelliJ account is like a 30-second process and you get it for free for a year.
Yep. Okay.
It's not worth letting people decide, I don't think.
Okay, that's really good to know because it's the first time I've heard that. Yeah, and so I don't know if like VS Code has gotten worse, or maybe there's something about like the Palm that I'm using that confuses VS Code. That's good to know. I will emphasize that
I think it's a
next time I teach.
yeah, also think it's just easier if everybody has, it's just standardized.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to even worry about the bug.
But it was a learning experience.
No, I've been learning that for the last however many weeks.
It's
Well, that's
the friends you made along the way.
Well, I used IntelliJ before I like it, I just was getting crazy.
Yeah.
Now I'm back.
Okay.
let students build their own, bury themselves.
Well, the issue is when you do like team projects and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you're spending more time focusing on that than actually the coding as a group.
That's a really good point. That's something, yeah, I want to avoid. As I mentioned, there have been a number of times like that where I realized that, yeah, the students, well, I mean, like way back when I had students create their own Maven projects that, cost people a bunch of time. It's like, "Ah, I don't want you messing around with that. I want you to write some Java code." And boy, I used to when we did the pairing and the mobbing, everybody would create like their own repository. So you go through the whole thing where you create, you'd make the copy or the clone of the getting started repository and going from there. It's like, oh my gosh, that ended up taking 20 minutes out of class, even if you got it right, So good to know. Okay, thanks. So I will definitely emphasize. Say what?
That's so good. Yeah,
It
the other
it
8 hours at
it
work.
is. Yeah. And
That's gonna break all.
Yeah, you also spend a lot of time kind of bored trying to figure out what you need to do while you're waiting on a PR at work.
Yeah.
So you can adjust that stuff.
yeah, and all of this, everything in the classroom is a balance between, yes, things that are relevant and real world, and also the things that I really want you to experience, which is writing code, is working on the projects, not fighting with tools. Cool. Excellent. But overall, Project 3, how did it go? How are you feeling about it? Straightforward, good, good, good. Excellent. Yeah. Not good? Okay, yeah.
Um, just so the snippet of code you're supposing a problem,
Good.
that issue you pointed out for project two, like my file writing but not reading.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So I was just able to detect what's coding it.
Sweet.
I tried to figure out fix it. Because I can write something into the file, over it in another window, I can see what I wrote on it, but my program cannot.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, this was cool.
Cool. Well, have any answer any questions, after class or in whatever. Also recommend, and it's probably sound like a broken record, that you write a test for it. That both either a unit test that uses like the text dumper to dump to like a string writer or something, and then read it back in as parse it. But good stuff. Yeah, that sounds like you're on your way. Nice. Well, good deal. Adam, you said it was a little more challenging than Project Two.
Yeah, because I try to keep some backwards compatibility with the date times.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Just to see how much of my old code I could.
Yeah. And that's very much part of the lesson. And it's, one of the reasons why I changed the date format is so that, yeah, I mean, you sort of ponder, oh, yeah, can I make both of them work? Or, how isolated is my date parsing? And so, okay, nice. Good, good. Good learning all up around. Thanks for sharing that. Up next will be Project 4. And I do encourage you to go back and oh yeah, go back and look at some of the screencasts from last week where we introduced the REST API, and then do that refactoring. Feel free to either walk through the refactoring yourself or just take the code that I wrote. Watch the lecture so you understand what changed, but then take the code and use that as a starting place if that helps you out. But as you probably realized, Project 4 is sort of a quantum leap in terms of additional functionality, additional complexity. But really, students have told me that it's not as scary as it might seem at first. They were kind of daunted, but like once they get the hang of it, and once they learned how to write the unit tests and the integration tests, things moved along. But let me know how it goes. See, and is due next week. Boy, it is the end of the term, and things are coming quickly. Excellent. Um, oh, was everybody able to get set up with Android? Yes. Good, good, good. If you, oh, that would be important. So then, yeah, I mean, please take some time and try it again. If you, want my consultation, please reach out. Yeah, it'll be important, and this is why we start it now so that everybody knows, if there are any issues with like your development environment, that we find them now. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Let's talk about some mobbing. Sorry, well, is there anything else that people like to discuss before we dive into the mobbing? Yeah.
We got stuck on hymns last time. From your perspective,
Oh yeah.
I always think that it's better to restrict the number of available options as much as possible, right? Because now you're making your code simpler because you're reducing the potential flow paths or prompt different states
Mhm.
of your program. Was it even worth it to go down the enum path, or should we just kept it simple?
Yeah, it is a good question. And I think I'm okay with where we ended, because it was a good learning experience. I think, yeah, ultimately, I think like, in another 3 weeks, when you've got even more experience with Java under your belts, the enums and things like that will become much more naturally. I was curious to see, if we would get it, if it would feel right, if it would be intuitive to folks. Yeah, in hindsight, I think it would have been interesting if we had started with strings instead to see where it goes. But I think when I've done that kata in the past and people have used strings, it gets complex and confusing in a different way because people try to like, oh, I'll parse the string. Oh, wait, what's that string value supposed to be? So I think it's a toss up between, there are pros and cons either way. So I think yes, because I don't know, when I look at that tennis score kata, I see a state machine. And so when you've got a state machine, I think using enums make a lot of sense because you really do have these distinct states. But um, also, I think the point that people were making about, ooh, it's kind of complex at the beginning is also very valid. And so probably starting with strings and then at some point refactoring into enums might have been, would have been a fine way of doing it too. Yep, good learning all around. So on Monday, we did that operating theater activity about mob programming, and we saw and got to experience the three roles of mobbing. So there's the driver, who is the person whose hands are on the keyboard, and even more so in than in pair programming. They're really there just to focus on the code and to then um, implement or take guidance and direction from other people. And actually from the other person who is the designated navigator. So, the navigator, just like in pairing, is the person who is providing guidance to the driver. But the navigator also has another very important responsibility, which is taking input from the rest of the mob. I think this is really the secret sauce in mob programming. So, the navigator, instead of like doing all the thinking, they're really doing facilitation, which means they need to elicit information from the rest of the mob, and then come up with, based on that, come up with then the guidance and direction that they give the driver. And then everybody else is a mobber. And really, the responsibility of everybody else is to be thinking about the problem and talking about the problem. And so then, here we'll all be able to see the code and everything, but we'll also be able to see each other. And so then I'm really curious about the dynamic of having, well, the four and maybe me. I don't know if it makes sense for me to be in the mob tonight or not. So we'll figure it out. I don't know if I'll be able to keep my mouth shut, first of all, but maybe I'll sort of play the role of Dumbledore here and just sort of no, actually not. It's not Dumbledore because Dumbledore was really controlling everything, wasn't he? I don't know. I'm off here from a distance, observing and stuff. We'll see how it goes. So let's see here. Tonight, what we'll do, we did our tennis kata. Tonight we are doing an RPN calculator kata. So RPN stands for reverse Polish notation, because it was created by someone or is attributed to somebody in Poland, from Poland. If you're not familiar with this, and it's okay if you're not. The whole idea here is that it's a postfix, that these are simple arithmetic operations, plus, minus, times, divide, that are binary operators, meaning that they have two operands, where they take two numbers and make another operator. Sorry, take two numbers and make another number. And it's a postfix notation, meaning that the two operands are first, and then what follows them is the operator. So the way that you would express 20 divided by 5 is that you would say 25, sorry, the number 20, the number 5, and then slash for division. If you know anybody who's an accountant and they use those HP postfix calculators, this makes sense to them. I always thought this was kind of wacky, but it does make for actually an interesting kata. And as you'll see, it's actually kind of a very natural. There's some very natural things you can do, sort of computer science things you can do. One of the nice things about reverse Polish notation is that you don't need parentheses. So, like in infix notation, when you need to distinguish, when you need to, beyond relying on operator precedence, you need to use parens to talk about what expressions are evaluated, before other ones. Um, but in RPN you don't. So if you wanted to say, hey, add 4 plus 2 and then subtract 3 to get 3, you would say, well, 4, a 2, and then add that. And what this does is basically takes then the result of this operation right here as then an operand, the left-hand operand, and then the right-hand operand to the next operator, which is minus. Before I walk through another example, Is this tracking? Have folks seen this kind of thing before?
How do you parse it?
I think that, you can talk about things like that. I'd also remind you that there was someone that suggested that you use enums too. So I'm just saying, there's like maybe the ultimate answer, but then how we get there, or how you get there, taking that into consideration. And there might be other ways to approach it too. But yes, but yeah, this is a language. And then, just as you learned in, actually, what course do you guys cover abstract syntax trees in? You don't take compilers anymore. So like, is that like, what's the title of that course? Is it like algorithms, data structures crap? I mean, like, there you go. Okay. Okay, good. Well, so you're familiar with that. So yeah, I mean, so as you may be imagining, hey, maybe this is a parsing problem, where we, parse things and represent them and then operate on them. Nice. So, I think a good place to start is with, the four basic operators, plus, minus, times, divide. And then, they say, hey, great, as, subsequent things you can add, you can add a unary operator in square root, and then a multi, variable length argument, operator, like find the maximum. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, and this is, don't know if we'll get to this tonight, but something to maybe consider. So that's the kata. So, taking an input like this, and, I encourage people to start with, you need a test to basically take this string and then, evaluate it to get the number four. Um, yeah, and go from there.
That third example looks kind of confusing. Why wouldn't you do like 5, 8 times 7 plus 3 times? What are the rules of this language? Like how each language comes with like a set of rules
Hmm.
for the representation. It's kind of hard to see. The first two make it pretty obvious, but maybe the third sample is missed one.
Yeah. No, I believe this is correct. If one of the, the rules is that when you see an operator, it consumes the result of the previous two, expressions, in which case, just the constant eight is an expression with a value of eight.
So I look for it's a binary operator, right? That's what we're gonna get to. So like
Yes.
the
Yep. Square roots unary, but, plus, minus, times, divide are all binary. And, yeah, I mean, I think, Adam, you're right. There are multiple ways to express this. I guess what it's saying is that, when you see this, given, this is valid syntax, and the way it is interpreted is as this.
Mhm.
Okay. So, oh, and let me post the document here. So, oops. I'll go back to the chat. Cool. Excellent. Well, we'll jump into it shortly, but first let's all synchronize our, IntelliJs, or our GitHub repositories. Let's see here. Earlier tonight, I merged in, a new calculator, project here in the Cause repository, and it looks just like everything else. It's called, you've got a main class called RPN calculator. Um, you got unit tests and you got integration tests, all the good things. Although what I didn't do is I didn't add the magic to make it work with VS Code. Um, I can do that while you all are doing some design work, if you'd like. But actually, please, let's, how about everybody take a moment and make sure that they can, get these latest changes. Um, and let me know if anybody encounters conflicts in their code. One of the things I noticed is that something that happened on Monday, we ended up losing a couple of changes because like things were red again for me when I was running it. It's like, no, I had this green. And so then a couple things got, I think, just clobbered in merges and stuff, which is real world of working on Git repositories. But has everybody been able to, let's see here, how about everybody pull down the latest changes and make sure that you can successfully run the unit tests for RPN calculator? You know what? I don't think.
You already pushed it, the brain, the comment.
Yep, it should be on main. Yep.
Orange looking.
Okay, good. Good. Okay. Well,
I'll just work on
okay.
it. I'll be right back. Wait.
Oh yeah, it's pizza here. Excellent. Okay. Oh, wait for pizza. I'll pause the recording. We need to record all this. That's sad. Okay. Final perspective. Okay. Did we leverage each other's strength?
Yes.
No, yeah, no, that's not fair. Yeah, no, 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 no. There you go. Okay, how did coding together impact our overall shared morale and cohesion?
I had a good time.
Interesting. I like to see everybody else kind of like figure it out their path, try and go to their own direction, and then they really thought that we should go back up the stack.
I think that really would have worked. I mean, the stack's way easier, but
Yes, I think
we
the
were almost there.
I always, I guess, cautionary tale of not reinventing the wheel. It's each of the.
Oh, sorry, say more, but not what wheel were we reinventing?
Well, we just did a quick internet search for IPN on Wiki.
Gotcha.
Right away, it says, oh, look, there's an easy stack.
You internet search when you do leak code?
No, but, I mean, in industry, oh,
Yeah, I guess
that's the reinvent.
that's a big difference between here and at work. Is like here it's a learning environment. First of all, it's a way condensed time frame. The second of all, it's a learning environment, so people are like afraid, like I don't know syntax, I don't want to look it up because I feel this way too. Like it feels like cheating. We like we're in this environment with like
Actually, I feel like the opposite of that. The match statement and everything, I've used it before, but I don't remember it because I don't use it that much. I went to my data to see how I used it. I Googled it again, I wrote it down. So I feel more comfortable looking up syntax here, and I'm not afraid of making a mistake here because I have 4 or 5 people that can tell me, hey, watch out for this. And it feels smoother for me to work like that. While I'm like maybe fast or by myself, it can go like harder because I'm hesitating, I'm trying multiple things before getting to what I want. So it's way faster. If that was just me, I would have tried pursuing my way until like I'm like, okay, I can't do this now before I start something.
Hmm.
But when everybody is giving me an input, it feels way faster. But
Yeah, I think that's perfectly valid, especially in the mobbing. I mean, yeah, when you're working on your own, I can understand the reluctance of like just looking up the answer. And it's a good point, if you, yes, come across someone else's implementation of the airline class for this course, don't look at that. But I think it's a judgment call whether or not, you say, I ought to know this syntax. Let me try stuff first, as opposed to like, okay, I've never, I know what I want to do. I don't, there's a method that, like the is character or the is letter, right? It's like, oh, is there one of those? It's okay. I think it's prudent to look it up first. Yeah, cool.
The driving, you can grind leak code or whatever program you need, which you in person.
Really not tool-free. That's my favorite thing too, like, instead of looking at the problem, look up if like those methods exist in Java.
Little, break it down into little things you're trying to do,
Yeah, like.
one line at a time.
Yeah, last time I found out the character one, where you put it into like a string, something like that, and you check this character, and it's gonna see return true or false. So I think I started looking, using that at first.
There's probably the Python way to do it, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough, right? Yeah. Nice.
Also like stack. So yeah, exactly.
Yep, thinking about that dynamically, yeah. Well, and this is like this is why I wish they still had you guys taking compilers. For me, like compilers it helps me understand these kinds of problems and stuff. Where I sort of knew about an abstract syntax tree, the fact that then evaluating the tree didn't right. It actually did you actually evaluate the trees in that class, or did you just like
Population class that Andrew Tomac teaches, it's just part.
Yeah, so the 358 is like intro to programming languages, so basically it's, we're doing the text parser, basically, well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
Take
right,
it
yep.
And we build it as a tree.
Yep.
That's all we're doing.
Okay, but then you didn't actually walk the tree to compute.
did.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't a completely foreign concept. It's just that,
No,
yeah.
we did. Wow.
Okay, good.
Evaluated things. Yeah, we did that.
Okay, good. Okay, so good. So like what I was doing wasn't completely new and different. Okay, cool. Excellent. Awesome. Okay, so just thoughts on mob programming. So like how is it different tonight than on Monday when everybody was remote? Like it better than pair programming. Say more. Yeah, okay. Other comparisons, other initial responses?
I think it's good for problem solving situations.
Mm.
I think it's more important for problem solving on the coding itself. Yeah, I think I like it better in person than online. It's easy for people to just like kind of check out if you're not face to face.
Yeah, it's hard to tell like who's, engaged and who's not, which is, or I'd say how people are engaged. Yeah.
Well, if everyone was engaged online, I think it'd be the same opportunity.
And so then because on next week you have you have the option of being online. Again, it's all gonna be one mob, so that'll be
If they
interesting.
ever- Yeah, they had their cameras on and it was their job, it would go way different.
Yeah.
There's a lot of motivation. That work. I had a mob problem solving session earlier today at work, and that worked out really well.
Nice.
So it was programming, troubleshooting. But at the thing, at work, it's just everyone's paid to be there, evaluated, super happy on the performance.
I don't know. You're paying to be here. I think that would be motivation too. Anyway, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, right. Yeah.
They usually force everyone to turn.
Well, and it's something to consider. I can't force anybody to do anything, but as a lesson or something to try next week if you're going to be remote, have your cameras on so people can, see your expression, because and it's like all these, nonverbal cues of like, oh, someone wants to speak. Okay, great. As opposed to, when you're off.
Remote work is just as effective as in-person work when you have motivation. Motivation group is the key.
Yeah, engagement and effective behaviors. Okay. Nice. Oh, let me share my screen and just sort of give a preview of next week. So then, Monday. So Monday we'll be diving into more Android development. My gosh, we're almost at the end of the term. We only got 2 more weeks left. It's crazy. I know, right? So then we're going back to Android development. I'm going to take that Hello World application that we created on Monday, and I'm going to do some stuff with it to demonstrate how to develop with Android. And then a week from tonight will be our second mob program activity. We'll be doing another kata with a Minesweeper kata. I Well, and we don't talk about it now, but let me know if my involvement tonight was effective. I I think I was like, okay, I know I kind of took the reins there and drove us to the goal line because I think you all wanted to see the problem solved, and so then and that was good. And I think that helped with learning, but with Minesweeper, it might not make as much sense. So anyway, we'll give that a try. And then let's see here. You know, huh. Well, in terms of the Monday after that, if there's more Android for me to do, I might get, depending on sort of like how effective and how efficient I am on next Monday, I might get through all the Android stuff that I want to show off. And so maybe the Monday after that, there's a little more freedom. So we'll see. So sort of like the plan is, yep, more Android stuff if it makes sense to do so. Otherwise, there might be some other stuff that we can talk about. And then that's it though. And then on the 12th will be the final exam. Also here in person. But yeah, so yeah, and with projects 4 and 5, those are the biggest projects, but you also know the most. You're the best that you've ever been at Java. As long as you get more from here. So exciting stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks. Let me know how it goes.
I challenge you, you say absolutely nothing during the Minesweeper mob.
Oh, that's concerning to you?
Just watch.
I could do. Did you find that concerning or comforting? Or
So that would just be interesting to see.
okay, then I'd have to be off screen. You'd be like, no, no, no.
I appreciated that you stepped in and because then it kind of allowed us to see blind spots.
Okay, yeah. So okay, well,
So I think it'll be good perspective.
okay. So yeah, I'll be facilitative until I'm not. Excellent. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you coming out in person. It was great seeing you. Thank you for the pizza.
Take pizza.
And same thing with the sodas too. Yeah, yeah. I don't need to lug all that stuff back. Have a good one, everybody.